Thank goodness. All right. Welcome to Monday Morning Breakthroughs. I am Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions. And today on Monday Morning Breakthroughs, I have an amazing woman, Leks Vucko, with us. She's going to give us a breakthrough about motivation. Leks Vucko, with over 2 decades of expertise, guides individuals in high performance, physical and mental wellness while promoting self love. Her unique approach integrates biohacking and neurohacking for optimal well being, empowering people to become healthy high achievers, not long hour hustlers. Leks, you have 20 minutes to give us a breakthrough.
All right, hello everybody. Let's talk about motivation straight up. Motivation doesn't exist in the sense that we think it does. It's like an emotion, it comes and goes. We feel motivated to work out, to eat right, and to do all the stuff we need to do in business, and then tomorrow we don't. So, how do we maintain a business when we don't feel like it? Well, first, let's understand the brain. When we're talking about when we don't feel like something, it's our brain trying to keep us in the same. We are where we are based on our current emotions, our current habits, our current way of thinking. So, of course, you're not going to feel like it because it's not your way of thinking yet or your habit. Now, I do want to mention that we're now shifting from the masculine to more feminine world where it's more about connection, it's more about love, it's more about being kind to yourself. But we're still exiting the hustler era of work hard, sleep less. And I want to emphasize what Laura said about my bio, where it says we emphasize the self love. So everything we're going to talk about today is not from these rigid edges of like, I have to do all these things. It's more like, how can I apply this? Because if I truly love and respect myself, I will naturally want to do all these things. And everything that I talk about comes from my own personal story where things really shifted for me when everything was falling apart in my life. I didn't think anything was going right, and it wasn't. But when I started applying these few steps that I'm going to share with you today, everything changed. And these few steps have to do with me, not with my business. So when it comes to peak performance, let's talk about what is peak performance. It really means me performing at my best every day as a human, as a me, as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner, as a friend. It is again not the hustling, I have to use every minute of every day for the best. No, it's about how can I be my best self today, honoring myself first. So, the first thing I want to discuss is sleep. Again, we're exiting the masculine energy culture, which is sleep, less work, more. More studies are now showing that women need even more sleep. We need between 8 and 10 hours of sleep. And I spent my whole life trying to hustle hard and being like, no, I want to sleep less. I want to sleep less. And then I ended up with thyroid issues, thinning hair, and all kinds of other medical issues. So, sleep is something I really want to talk about because the quality of sleep is crucial for cognitive function, for decision making, and for overall well being. So, when you find yourself unable to focus and you're scrolling through emails, not really getting anything done, the question is, have I slept well? So I have a few notes here on how to get better sleep, starting, for example, today. The first thing you want to do is have a setting on your phone that has the auto adjustment, light auto adjustment, which means if you walk into a darker room, it gets darker. You do not want bright lights into your eyes because that confuses your body as to when to produce melatonin, which is a sleep hormone. So get that setting on your phone. Get an app that's going to have a blue light filter on besides the one on your phone because once again, LED lights, the blue lights are not natural for us unless it's morning. Our eyes are now seeing LED lights everywhere at the workplace, at the stores, anywhere we go, on the phone, and it's disrupting our sleep. So, something as simple as getting an app for a blue light filter is great on your phone. The rule is get a few, find the one that's easiest for you, and use that one. Get an app block. If there's scrolling on the phone that happens in the evening, you want to block that by getting an app that blocks the apps. Again, download a few, find the one that works for you because We are working against behavioral scientists here because their job is to make us keep scrolling. So if you're a scroller, if you are like, oh man, I've been like an hour too long on the scroll thing, it's not you. Do not wear the shame and guilt of that. Get an app and it's going to block all these apps for you at a certain time, but still honor that to yourself because we get the dopamine hit. We get the feeling good when we're scrolling. So honor that for yourself for about 10 or 15 minutes. You may want to try something called mouth taping. There's a huge difference when we're breathing through our nose and breathing through our mouth, especially at night, because at night we don't know what we're doing. So getting a mouth tape is something that you can easily apply. There's different kinds. I have the ones on my website that I recommend, and it just helps you breathe properly through your nose. Obviously, you will not, if you cannot breathe through your nose, do not put it on if you're sick. And one more thing I want to address here is the PM rituals. Are you working? Are you hustling? Are you going, and then trying to fall asleep? Because that's not going to work either. We have to slowly go from from beta to alpha to theta state, and then to fall asleep into delta state. And theta state is the one that's kind of meditative state. That's where we want to spend most of our time before bed. So something like reading, and if you're reading, make sure it's not a LED light, and if it's a Kindle, make sure to have the blue light filter on. If it's meditation, honor that for yourself. People resist a lot of times on meditations, but again, if you truly love yourself and respect yourself, you will want to do things for yourself that you know are good. And meditation doesn't have to be an hour long. When we do the go big or go home masculine energy, it doesn't work. How can I lovingly bring myself to calm down my body and meditate for 60 seconds? Maybe I just need to take some deep breaths. So calming energy before bedtime. There are other studies that show colder room, but I think those studies are done on men because we don't want too cold of a room. We want what we're comfortable with. For example, in my family, we don't even like to cover ourselves, so we like about the room temperature. Some people prefer cold, some people prefer just a little warmer. So without the studies, I always tell people, what do you prefer? What do you like? When do you feel the best? It's always about that self-love. It's all about knowing myself. The second thing I want to talk about is nutrition. Now, I won't spend time talking here about what we need to eat because we all know what healthy food is. But again, if I truly love and respect myself, what is the kind of food that I want to put in my body that's going to nurture my body? And I want to spend a bit of time talking about how to do it rather than want to do it. Because again, the go big or go home approach is the dieting approach. I'm going to go on this diet and I'm going to change everything. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do my sleep. I'm going to eat great. It's too much of a change at once for your brain because you're not going to feel like it. So we know what to eat, but how do we get there? Switch one small thing at a time. Maybe I'm going to pay attention to Monday and Tuesday dinners. Maybe I'm going to start questioning when am I actually hungry and skip breakfast if I'm not hungry. Maybe I'm going to test different things. And while that testing is challenging because most people are like, just tell me what to do, it is the road to self-love and self-acceptance and self-respect because I get to know me and I get to do what's best for me, as do you for you. This is why there shouldn't be any cookie cutter program. The third thing I want to talk about is easily overlooked, and that's hydration. Most people grab for second, third, especially business owners, they grab for that second, third, fourth cup of coffee when they're trying to stay awake, when they don't realize they just need more water. Now, water itself sometimes is not enough to hydrate us because it doesn't have electrolytes. So adding a little bit of real sea salt or real Himalayan salt, sea salt a little better. You can also do the Celtic sea salt. You can put a pinch of it in your water and it's going to add the minerals to hydrate you. So when you're feeling tired, when you're having the infamous Red Bull masculine energy 3 p.m. feeling, grab for water rather than an energy drink or coffee. I hope nobody's drinking energy drinks because we can go into a whole nother tangent on that. The next thing I want to talk about are workouts or movement. Okay. Again, we're not approaching this to go big or go home. It's not going to the gym, lifting hard 5 days a week, grunting hard. No, it's about finding what works for everybody, right? For what works for me may not work for you. You may like yoga. I may like lifting weights. You may like swimming. I may like stretching. So finding what works for us and once again, fitting it into our schedule because we're not going to feel like it. So if this is not already a habit, set a timer to be 10 minutes, 3 times a week. Every time you set a goal, I want you to ask yourself, can I do this indefinitely? Okay. If the answer is, oh, I don't know. I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week for 1 hour. Can I do this indefinitely? Oh, I don't know. My schedule is kind of busy. Well, that's too big of a goal. But can I fit in 10-minute workouts 3 times a week? Yes. Okay, now we're scheduling the workouts and getting them done. Because again, we're not going the go big or go home masculine energy. We're doing this because I love and respect myself and I want to give my body and my brain the best things necessary. And when you work out, you do feel more motivated because your brain is engaging differently with your whole body than when you're skipping those workouts. So it does reduce stress, it improves mood, it enhances productivity. So yes, you will work out, but you'll spend less time working and getting more done because it's been shown that the focus is amazing. The last few things I want to address are thoughts. Thoughts. Where are our thoughts? Are we worried all the time? Are we stressed all the time? Do we even know where our thoughts are? Something that I always start my clients off with is a 7-day mental diet. And if you'd like one, DM me, connect with me on social media, email me. I'll gladly share with you. I have a short video on how to do it and then jump into the 7-day mental diet to start being aware of your thoughts because thoughts lead to emotions, emotions lead to actions, and then actions lead to thoughts, and it just goes into a catch-22. So how do we change? We have to raise self-awareness and disrupt that catch-22 so that we can change our thoughts. And this is not about the toxic positive thinking. This is truly about changing how we think about things. Is this a problem or is this an opportunity? There's a really big difference in how my brain is going to approach that when I see that as an obstacle or a problem, or when I see that as, hey, this could be an opportunity. There's a very different energy in how I think, how I feel, and therefore the actions that I take. Another thing I want to talk about is your environment. See, we as humans are tribal creatures. Humans lived in tribes for millions of years, and therefore we developed a need to be liked and to be accepted. Because if we were not accepted by our tribe and we were sent away, we had to find a way to survive on our own. This is why all of us in our DNA have a need to be liked and accepted. And instead of fighting that, I tell people, accept, you know what? That's the need that we have. This is why when we get negative comments, we get stressed out, right? We want to be liked and accepted. This is the difference. Today we get to choose our tribe. And if I get to choose my tribe and I choose my tribe carefully and I have Laura in my tribe and I have other amazing people in my tribe that are going to push me forward, and I already know not only that they like me and accept me, but they're pushing me in the right direction, then I have no guilt or shame over the things that I'm doing because I know that I'm going to grow with my tribe. This is why your environment is so important. And by environment, obviously one thing that we addressed are people, but the second thing is my environment, where I'm at. Where am I spending my time? How do I feel about it? Feng Shui is not just a made up word. There is something to be said about the energy of the environment that we're at. An environment also triggers us to take certain actions. I get up, I go brush my teeth, I go pee, and I go make my coffee. That's a cue of my bedroom and of my bed and of my environment. This is why when we change environment, we behave differently. When we travel somewhere, we're in a hotel room, it may be a little different. This is why, besides the obvious reasons, COVID was such a problematic issue for people because they got up and they didn't have to do the same things that they'd done over and over again, and their brain was confused as to what to do, which added more stress because brain doesn't like to make decisions. Our brain wants to conserve the energy. This is why we typically go to scrolling when we need to make big decisions, is because our brain is actively trying to conserve the energy. So you have to be aware of your environment. Do I need to change anything in my environment? Things, organization? Do I need to look more into my habits? I had a client who was drinking coffee straight out of bed. So we said, how about drinking a little bit of water beforehand? And she said, oh, I don't know, I'm not really thirsty in the morning. I said, well, let's disrupt the pattern of going to coffee. So instead of grabbing the coffee mug, she put her bottle of water there. So it disrupts the pattern. The morning she went there, she's like, all right, I plan to have a sip or two. She said, I drank the whole bottle. I didn't even realize how thirsty I was because, again, hydration is really important. But you have to do things like that to disrupt your pattern, to disrupt your way to the original path. Okay. And last thing I want to talk about is energy. All the things that we just talked about lead to higher energy, but you also want to manage your energy levels efficiently, again, including stress management and mindfulness techniques. So, when is the last time I sat down to eat a meal? And how long did it take me to eat that meal? Am I eating when I'm standing in the kitchen? Am I even there? Do I even know what it tastes like, what the texture is like? Or am I just eating because there's the next thing waiting for me to go? So we have to untrain ourselves to go from that hustle energy. It's ingrained in a lot of us. And we have to always look from the love and kindness toward ourselves. Because when we do that toward ourselves, we're like a candle lighting other candles. If I light other candles, it does not diminish my light. But if I'm giving from a place of sacrifice and I say yes when I meant no, and I'm trying to please other people because I'm in the wrong tribe, it is using a lot of my energy and everything that I'm giving is coming from a place of sacrifice, which means I have to take from me to give to you, which creates resentment. And over time, resentment cannot lead to anything good. Besides that, again, if you apply these little techniques that we talked about in small increments, one at a time, not going big or going home, not self sabotaging, punishing ourselves, guilting and shaming ourselves when we didn't do something right. When I say, hey, how can I lovingly get more restful sleep? How can I treat myself with more love and kindness? That's when everything changes when it comes to your motivation. Because again, if I feel like everything's full in me and my body and I feel fulfilled, I am more than happy to give from a giving heart, and that's going to spill into your business, into your connections, into your relationships. And that itself is going to motivate you even more to stay on course. So I know we came here to talk about motivation, but we talked about the foundation that brings the lasting motivation into our life. If you wish to find out more about my membership or about me or working with me, please go to my website. It's Leks.pro, and connect with me on social media. I'm here to answer any questions.
Oh my gosh, so many things. I have like notes and I'm like, I'm a note taker, you guys. But here's what I loved, Lex. So, how can I even think about motivation in terms of self-love? Like, I think you spun that idea of motivation into self-care and self-love so beautifully. We want to know more about your 7-day mental diet challenge. Tell us about that.
So the 7-day mental diet is just how I start all off my clients because I want them to be aware of their thoughts. We cannot change anything unless we're aware of it, right? If I'm not aware of my behavior, if I'm not aware of it, I'm not going to be able to change it. If I think that my sleep is okay, but I actually have racing thoughts that are stressing me out before bedtime and that's why I'm losing sleep, I can't change them until I'm aware of that. So that's how I start my clients with. If anybody is interested in doing the 7-day mental diet, I am more than happy to send you the little booklet and my little video on how to do it. Again, you can just connect with me on any of the social media or email me. I'll be
Okay.
glad to share.
You guys have Lex's website and social links below. Okay, so don't forget to connect with her about anything she said today. Man, I'm gonna go look up the blue light apps. I have not done that yet. You're gonna be a nudge for me. It's not just sleep, but the quality of sleep. Mouth taping, I never heard of it, but I'm chuckling about that one. I get why that could be interesting for mouth breathers. And I've read a lot about decision fatigue lately, so I loved what you said about that. So many golden nuggets. Lex, thank you so much for being here today and for what you do in the world. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
So, you guys, remember Brave Healer Productions is here to help you share your brave words with the world in a bigger way. So, join us for our next Monday morning breakthroughs. That's going to be the first and third Mondays of every month. And there's some information down below about that. Whether it's writing in one of our expert collaborations, joining our writer circle, teaching your course on the Brave Healer Transformation School platform, or attending our networking events. We do this with the spirit of collaboration, which is business building magic, y'all. So reach out to us for information on anything that you just heard me mention. And remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave.